This is the July 16th, 2025 meeting of the Albany Regional Board of Review. This hearing is being held via video conference call WebEx at the following location: New York State Department of State, 1 Commerce Plaza, 99 Washington Avenue, room 505, Albany, New York, 12231. The time is 9:06. And the hearing is officially open. The members of the board are Laura Ryder, Jackie Coons, Jared Behringer, and attending remotely is Jeff Hinderleiter. My name is Andy Ellis, chairman. From the Department of State is Jalfakar Ali, and Tom DeTulo. We'll now hear the scheduled petitions. When you speak, please address the board and give your name, title, and legal address, so that our court reporter can have all the information requested. We may have to stop from time to time to consult with our technical staff. In making comments to the board, please provide a descriptive narrative on matters referring to your exhibits to enable the court reporter to enter these into the record. This morning, we're going to have a slight change of order of our petitions. Our first petition is 2025-0441, petitioner Dawn Meter. The nature of the grievance and relief sought. This petition pertains, I'm not sure who's not on mute. If somebody in the meeting room, can you please make sure that you are on mute until you're ready to speak? Good. Okay. This petition pertains to the conversion of an existing single-family home as a family-type home for adults. FTHA oversees the local Department of Social Services and certified by the Bureau of Adult Services, the New York State Office of Children and Family Services, OCSS. The petitioner is seeking relief from 19 NYCRR Part 1220, 2020 Residential Code of New York State, Section P2904.1. General states, the design and install of a residential fire sprinkler system shall be in accordance with the NFPA 13D or Section P2904, which shall be considered the equivalent to NFPA 13D. The petitioner requests the following: to allow the conversion of a subject building to a family-type home for adults without installing an automatic sprinkler system. And also 19 NYCRR Part 1220, 2020 Residential Code of New York State, Section R105.5.1, authorized uses and occupancy states, whereas a certificate of occupancy has been issued for a building or structure or any portion thereof, no person or entity shall use or occupy such building or structure or such portion of thereof for any use or occupancy other than the authorized by such certificate of occupancy. And 19 NYCRR Part 1220, 2020 Residential Code of New York State, Section R105.2.5.2, change in occupancy or occupancy states without regard to whether a certificate of occupancy shall be issued. No person or entity shall convert use or occupancy of a building or structure or any portion thereof from one use or occupancy to other without first obtaining a building permit to perform the work, if any, required for such conversion, performing such work, required work, if any, and obtaining a certificate of occupancy, the authority having jurisdiction. Petitioner requests to keep the occupancy classification of the subject building as a one-family home instead of changing it to an R3 occupancy. At this point, I'd like the petitioner to state their case and remind you that please state your name and legal address for our court reporter.
Yes, my name is Dawn Metter, and my address is 48 Shepherd Road, Granville, New York, 12832.
Could you please give us a little overview of your case?
Yes, we are working with Suzanne Cody from Washington County Department of Social Services and wanting to open the family type home. We didn't realize when we started this that these things would need to be done in order to open a family type home. In fact, I had talked to several other folks that have family type homes in the state of New York, and none of them had made any modifications. So I wasn't aware that I was going to have to do that.
Okay. Do we have a building code official on our call?
Yes, this is Christopher Jones, Washington County Code Enforcement, 383 Broadway, Fort Edward, New York, 12828.
Can you tell us a little bit about your portion of the case?
Okay. On or about July 3rd of July 24, we were contacted by Mrs. Meter to conduct a fire safety inspection based upon the requirements of another state agency at her single family home. On doing that inspection, we discovered and discussed the possibility that the home would be converted into a care facility with 4 bedrooms. And I believe 4 to 6 additional residents, including Ms. Meter and her husband, Lee. I followed up by contacting the Department of State Technical Services Division and asked them if the occupancy would continue to be a single family home under the 2020 code, or if it would convert to an R3 under the 2020 code. And I was advised that yes, based upon the new use, it would most likely change to an R3. We then continued a code review and advised Ms. Meter and her husband, Lee, what the code requirements would be for an R3, up to and including the addition of fire sprinklers and fire extinguishers, fire detection, those things.
Okay. Do we have a representative from the state that would like to speak?
Yes, this is Liesl Maloney. I work for the Office of Children and Family Services in the Bureau of Adult Services. I'm the Family Type Home for Adults Coordinator for the state. Address 52 Washington Street, Rensselaer, New York, 12144. Family type homes are considered to be residential because they are not a group home. We do not require any extra modifications to the home, such as sprinkler system, like the adult care facilities that the Department of Health oversees. The Office of Children and Family Services oversees the lowest level, which is of adult care facility, which is the family type home for adults. We've had other court cases in other parts of the state where it was upheld that no extra zoning is required. It is considered a family home and therefore residential and would not need additional zoning variances. We don't require sprinkler systems. We don't require any of the additional things that the Department of Health facilities would require. So in my opinion, this is not required. This, zoning to R3 is an overreach. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to open up to the board for questions for the petitioner.
This is Jared from the board. So who are the residents that are going to be staying at this facility?
It would be people that would apply through either myself or through Suzanne Cody, people that would be coming from their private homes. For instance, I have a lady right now that isn't ready for a nursing home, but doesn't want to stay by herself in her own home. She's not capable of like taking care of her yard and doing all that stuff. So she'd just like to come, they still get around, they're ambulatory. They're able to do their own things. They just need a little assistance.
So is there somebody that will be at that location 24/7?
Yeah, myself.
But so if you're not there, like say you needed to go for a doctor's appointment, you needed to go, you had a vacation, you had something like that. So those residents would be there by themselves.
No, either my husband, if he was with me, I would have someone that was background checked that I personally knew that would stay here with them. They cannot be left alone at all. I can't go to the garden and leave these folks by themselves. So somebody would have to be here at all times with these folks.
And what's the amount? It says 4 bedrooms. So how many residents at a time would be living in the house?
I think it's approved for 4. So they will come in, Office of Children and Family. Suzanne Cody will be one of the ladies that comes in, and they look and see, if I have a bedroom here and a bedroom here, there has to be so many square feet per person in a bedroom. So, I may have 2, I may have 1, and I believe it goes up to 4. I could be approved for up to 4, which would be 2 in one room and 2 in another room.
Okay, and then you and your husband will also reside at that location.
Yes.
And no other family members?
No other family members. No, just my husband and myself.
This is Laura on the board. I have a question for Ms. Mitter. So in reading all the documents that we were given, there seems to be some misunderstanding or confusion over how many bedrooms there actually are in your house. So I know that the plans that were submitted show, in addition to the master bedroom, 2 bedrooms plus a sewing room, which apparently, according to your local code official, when the building permit was issued, it was issued for a 3-bedroom house because the sewing room was not considered a bedroom. So are you in fact not using what's called the sewing room as a bedroom? So you have enough space to do double occupancy in the 2 rooms marked bedroom?
I do, yes. I have enough room in those 2 rooms to do 2 people in this one and 2 people in this one. Yes.
Okay.
My
And
other
so-
room, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you finished.
My other 2 rooms have since been revised. I'm using one as my sewing room, and the other one is actually my office. So I have those 2 rooms. So actually I have an office off my kitchen. I have a sewing room and
Yep.
2 rooms set up. One has a queen bed in it right now, and the other one has 2 twin beds in it. And the other rooms in my home, I have my master bedroom, but there's no other beds set up in my home.
Okay. So with your local code official, have you already resolved that issue? Because I know in his comments, he had concerns that the septic system wasn't going to be large enough for a 4-bedroom home, and that it was some sort of change, from a 3 to a 4-bedroom, that he was concerned about the size of the septic. Has that been resolved already with you 2?
No, nothing's been, so we are not going to use that other bedroom. We are approved for a 3-bedroom. Our occupancy is for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home, and that's what we'll be using it as, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath home.
This is Andy from the board. In reading in our documents, this is more of like a family type setting when you take residents in. Do you have is there like an average amount of time? Are they there only a few weeks, or is this something that could be years where they live with you?
They could stay for many years, or until maybe they need to go to a higher care facility. This won't be like when they get ready for a nursing home, they would have to go on to a nursing home. I actually visited one of the homes in Esperance, New York, and that lady there had, when I was there, she had a lady that was there having, she had had a knee surgery. So she was there just for her, because she couldn't go home by herself and her family was all out of state. So she was there, she had had a knee replacement, and she was there just to get her rehab. So the nurse was coming in to her home to give her rehab on a daily basis to get her ready to go back to her own home. So it could be, just a rehab situation where they come in just for that, like a hip or something. So it could be temporary. In other words, it could be just a 6-week.
But I guess my question is a typical resident someone who would stay with you for long term, and you are helping them with just minor daily tasks? Is that the scope of the
Yes.
program?
Yes, that is it. Yes.
So this is Jackie from the board. I just want to compare some of your answers to the language in the building code for a minute. So you are a single family dwelling, but you are providing care for these people. So in effect, you are a care facility for people who are not ready to move to a higher level of care, correct?
Correct. Providing care as needed. I mean, someone may come and need no care. Someone may come and need you to sit there while they get in and out of the tub because their family is not ready for them to stay by themselves in case they should slip. I mean, some of them, most of them are just mainly very minimal. Some need no care at all. They just want someplace to be because they don't want to stay by themselves.
So these people that are staying with you, they are or they are not capable of self-preservation in the event of a fire? Or it depends on the person?
Yeah, they have to be ambulatory. They have to be able to get around themselves.
And self-preservation also requires them to be of sound mind too. So you say you can't leave these people at all, but you say that they're ambulatory and they can get around. So what makes it so that you can't leave them?
Oh, because I wouldn't, because they're here under my care and I'm not going to leave them in case maybe they would fall. If somebody happened to fall, I mean, the house that I went to, actually somebody had fallen. Somebody might fall and they may need me right then. And if I was outside in the garden, that's not good. I would rather have somebody here all the time to make sure that if somebody needed me, if they needed assistance, I'm here to help them. That's what I'm here for. Their people are paying me to stay here with those people. The lady in Salem goes to Florida every winter. She would like someone to take care of her father while she's in Florida, so she knows that he's eating 3 meals a day, having a couple of snacks. He has what he needs if he needs it.
So this is not a voluntary thing. This is not like somebody is infirmed and like hospice volunteers come in to help the family out. These people are, or their families are paying you to care for them.
To be here for them. That's correct.
So
If
it's
I
not
may-
like you're
if
just
I may
inviting your
interject.
friends into your single family dwelling.
I'm sorry, I didn't
You
hear
are-
you.
It's not like you're just inviting friends and family into a single family dwelling. These are people who are unknown to you, who are paying you for a service that you are providing in your home.
Correct.
God, thank you.
This is Liesl Maloney again from the Office of Children and Family Services. I just want to clarify that we are, it's in our regulations that when there's a resident in the home, they have to have 24-hour supervision. And we are not a medical model, unlike the Department of Health facilities who, can provide nursing care. We are restricted to not do that. So, as Don said, it's just, assistance with, activities of daily living and supervision.
Well, thank you, Liesl. I mean, that does help get us away from any kind of an I occupancy and keep us in the R occupancy. But there were still questions related to the R occupancy that your agency may or may not acknowledge, but we do.
This is Jeff Hinderleiter. To back Ms. Coombs up, when the uniform code interacts with other agencies, generally we approach it apples and oranges. There are children's overnight camps. There are all these other things that various state agencies, county agencies are responsible to manage. But for the uniform codes purposes, all of the safety provisions start with how does it function? What is it? It's not to say that there's not room for variances. There's not to say there's not room for even conflict between the uniform code at times and these other state regulations. And the state works very hard at trying to find any of those conflicts and resolve them where they can. So I think that when considering enforcement of the code, and we look at the actual use and occupancy of the structure, if it fits the definition of an R3, then that's how the code has to look at it, regardless of what another agency may say. I do think that, and for the board's consideration, has anybody done a review, I guess, to the applicant or to the code officer? I know that one of the issues here is the sprinkler system, but have you done a review based on if this was considered a lodging house?
I'm sorry, this is Christopher Jones speaking again. A little bit of technical difficulty. Based upon the single family home, we found that a 13D as in dog or D as in David system would be applicable to the code and code compliant. I think a lodging house may require a higher level of sprinkler protection. However, we're open to other alternatives as set forth by the variance. Our struggle here is namely to identify the occupancy.
Yeah, so Jeff Hinderleiter from the board again, the definition from the residential code of a lodging house is a one-family dwelling where one or more occupants are primarily permanent in nature and rent is paid for guest rooms. I guess some of this will come down to looking at the nature of the contract. I'm assuming, Ms. Metter, that you have a contract of some sort that is entered between you and the occupants, and the nature of that contract and what's expected of the occupants. Do you utilize a contract?
We will have something, yes, I'm sure. I don't have all the papers yet. I'm still working on that because I've not gotten that far yet. I've not gotten Suzanne in here to look at my home because we've not gotten to that point yet.
Okay, understood.
Because
Again, this is Liesl Maloney. I can speak to that. We do require an admissions agreement is similar to like a lease. However, they are not just renting, they are not just receiving room and board, they are receiving services that they require based on our admission and retention level, which again, as Dawn mentioned, ambulation is one of the criteria of admission. The residents have to be able to ambulate independently and cannot require chronic assistance to sit, stand, transfer, or other health related issues. So, I mean, it wouldn't be a temporary, for the most part, it would not be a temporary situation. We do allow respite, as Dawn was describing earlier, which would be a short-term stay, but primarily the people will enter the home and stay there until either they want to leave or they will be determined that they must leave because their health needs exceed our admission retention level. So it's not just, they're not just renters and they're not just temporary. They become part of they will become part of Dawn's family. And, it's more than just being a renter, but it's less than being a nursing home. It's somewhere in between. It's a very niche population that we serve. And for example, the only reason they may live there is because they can no longer manage their own medication. So as a family type home operator would oversee the medication process. They would store it for the person, they would get the pills ready. And, that's one example of the care that they might receive.
So just so that it was put into the chat from our Department of State partners here, but there's a provision that's in the residential code along with the building code. In the residential code, it's R101.4, and in the building code, it's 101.2.1, facilities regulated by state departments and agencies. And to read this into the record, where a building or premises under the custody, licensure, supervision, or jurisdiction of a department or agency of the state of New York is regulated as a 1 or 2 family dwelling or multiple single family dwelling townhouse, in accordance with established laws or regulations of that department or agency, said buildings or premises such as community residence, which is not defined, or hospice residence, which is not defined, and their accessory structure shall comply with the residential code of New York State. So I think that provision would help clarify that if this is a community residence, and if the state agency would acknowledge that you believe it to be of that definition, then it would be subject to the residential code, which I think moves it away from potentially the R3 classification, because it's not, R3 is not in the residential code. And certainly that's just kind of reading that into the record and wondering what the other board members
Yeah,
consider
that's
there.
Jackie from the board. So I'm going back to Dawn's application. I'm assuming Dawn filled this out. And the reason we're here is because she is requesting a variance, and she's acknowledging she's requesting a variance from section 310.4 of the building code. And specifically, let's go with 310.4.1, and let's put aside the fact that people don't think that this should be treated this way or whatnot. She's put in her application that this is a variance from 310.4.1. What are you offering the board as an alternative to the sprinkler system to protect the safety of these occupants that are there for some reason that they are not able to stay in their homes on their own, as the rest of us do on a daily basis?
Was that what I was offering? I'm sorry, this is Dawn Metter.
Yes. What are you
So-
offering as an alternative to the sprinkler system that is required by 310.4.1?
yes, I was told via email, or someone had said along the way that I should have something that I could offer in place of the sprinkler systems, which I was actually requesting variance from that because I wanted to just go ahead and not change my occupancy, but because someone had said I should have something to offer, I did call the alarm company, the alarm system, and I have attached also, that would be in the, that's in the packet that I sent, and that would be number 11, and that is the alarm estimate to have an alarm system put in the home.
But how do you feel that
I don't. The only reason I attached that was because in one of these emails here, it says I should have something. Would have to go through
so
it
you
to
can't
see.
give us a justification for why that would act as an alternative to the life safety preservation that would be achieved with the sprinkler system?
This is Lisa Maloney again. If I could just interject, our regulations do not require sprinkler systems. We require that there be smoke detectors, CO detectors, and regularly conducted fire drills, which are recorded and timed and recorded. We have 170 other homes in the state that none of them have sprinkler systems. Again, we are not DOH. Our regulations are much less stringent than the Department of Health regulations, which do, I know, require sprinkler systems. I think that I'm not sure why Dawn was forced to apply for a variance in the first place. No other home in the state is going through this process. And we feel that our requirements of smoke detectors, CO detectors, fire drills are adequate to protect the life and safety of the residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other questions from board members?
Oh, wait, just one more. Are all of the bedrooms where these people sleep at grade level, or are any of them second floor or basement level?
No, they're all on the same level. Grade level, yes.
So there's no finished basement in this house?
There's a 4-foot crawl space. There is no basement, no.
Okay.
Any other questions
This is
from the
Jeff
board?
Enderleiter. Is there a ramp to access the home?
There currently is not. There is the handrails, but there could be a ramp. There is not currently a ramp.
And are the bathrooms equipped with grab bars?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, okay. At this time, the board is going to go into deliberation. We'd like to go off the record.
Hello,
Hello?
this is Chris Jensen with the Department of State. Could I have a second to speak?
Sure.
So I was wondering if Lisa Maloney would go on the record as speaking whether or not this is a community residence or not.
I know that the definition of community residence was read earlier, and I believe it's considered to be a residential. If that's correct, then yes, I'll go on the record to say that.
And this building is under the licensure of your agency, the agency of the state of New York.
Correct.
Then I would ask that the case might be able to be dismissed as the code sections listed in the application would not apply, as section R 101.4 applies, and it can be regulated under the residential code of New York State.
I agree.
I agree.
I agree as well.
So
Agree. I
thank you
agree.
for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Can we just,
Yes,
we'll go into deliberation
we-
just a.
Right.
we would still like, the board would still like to go into deliberation, go off the record.
Of the record, okay.
Thank you.
So I request all other petitioner if they can go outside.
Yeah, oh, yes,
Have a
please.
seat.
Please vacate.
How long do you
And
need?
then job card.
Yeah, I'll. see.
Yeah, you guys.
5-10 minutes, yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah.
Jack, you're gonna go into the other room?
Yep, no problem. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. Upon the application of Dawn Metter and upon taking testimony and hearing argument thereon at a duly noted hearing before the Capital Region Albany Board of Review. This hearing was held via video conference call WebEx at the following location: 1 Commerce Plaza, 99 Washington Avenue, Conference Room 505, Albany, New York, on July 16, 2025. And upon all other papers in this matter, the board makes the following determination. In light of the testimony and evidence presented to the board by Lisa Maloney, representative from the New York State Office of Children and Family Services, that the home in question is in fact a community residence. Therefore, the board finds that the home falls under section R 101.4, which is regulated by the New York State departments or agencies. Therefore, the board would like to have the local building code official and the petitioner to agree to withdraw the application based on the above findings. We still have the applicant, are we in the wrong room?
We are.
We're in the right room, right? So everybody's.
Okay,
Everybody go.
No, it's, you're in the right room. You're there.
okay.
Do we still have the local code official?
Yes, he's there. Christopher Jones.
Yeah.
Chris, we have down.
He's muted.
I'm sorry, Mr. Jones is here. This is
Okay.
Christopher Jones.
Did
A
you
lot
hear-
of background noise on your end or possibly mine.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
No problem. Did you hear our statement?
Yes, I did. Do you need a response from me?
Yeah, we would like to make sure that the applicant and you agree that this falls under community residence, which is regulated under R 101.4.
Well, that's based upon your decision, folks. So if that's what you feel I should follow from this point forward, I certainly will.
Yep. Okay.
Right, so then you would be agreeing to withdraw the application because it actually meets code as is without any variance needed.
Well, he'd be agreeing for her to withdraw. it.
Right,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying, right, I guess that's, but, yes.
You won't oppose her withdrawing it.
I will not oppose it, the withdrawal of the application, no.
Okay, so now
Okay.
we need Dawn.
Right, where is this better?
Thank you, Mr.
Right
Jones.
here. Yes, I'm Dawn Metter. I agree, yes.
You agree to withdraw your application?
Yes, I'm sorry, yes.
Okay. So that concludes this hearing.
Thank you.
You're
Thank you
welcome.
very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. the board would like to move to the next petitioner, petition number 2025-0046, petitioner John Cavallis. And we have Mr. Cavallis. Okay. This petition pertains to 2025-0046. Nature of the grievance and relief sought. The petition pertains to appealing the determination of a code enforcement official, CEO from the town of Colony Building Department to remove or relocate two existing LP gas containers at least 10 feet away from the lot line to meet table 1604.3 of the 2020 Fire Code of New York State.
Sorry, are we on?
You're still on the record.
We're still on the
Oh,
record.
okay.
Yeah, we never went off the record. Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Sorry.
No problem. For the property located at 27 Island View Road, Cohoes, New York, 12047, Town of Colony, County of Albany, State of New York. At this time, I'd like the petitioner state his case. Can you give us a little information? And before that, please state your name and legal address for the court reporter.
My name, good morning. My name is John Corvallis. I'm residing at 71 Island View Road, Cohoes, New York, 047. And before we start, I don't know how long this is going to take. I have to be at 11. So I'm assuming, first of all, open up your statement. Yeah, I think it's important. The words, moving the tank. The code
I'm
section.
sorry, excuse me. We can't hear you. Do you have a microphone near you?
Yeah. We'll move it, Barbara. Thank you.
Okay.
Barbara, do you want me to start from the beginning?
Yes, please start from the beginning.
Okay, to let everyone know, I have to be out here at 11. I also want to note,
The opening
you
statement.
opened the meeting. You mentioned the code section and removal of the tags from that particular code section. And you use the words from the lot line. Okay. I think it's important to note, it's not, the code section actually reads, and I'm going to see if I can locate it here. I have a recipe for pecan pie, which I don't know why it's here. Just bear with me. And I'm sure you guys have it there in front of you also.
Yes,
Yep,
I'll offer it up to you. It says lot line of adjoining property that can be built upon.
Thank you. That, a property, adjoining property that can be built on. I submitted the package to you guys. I'm assuming that you all got a chance to review it.
Yes.
Excellent. Go to the So I think I tried to summarize it. These tanks have been there for at least 20 years. The only reason this has come up is because the anonymous person from next door said she wants to put up a fence. The fence company would not work near the propane tanks. So she, of course, she called the town. She approached me and said, I have to move them from the lot line. I read the code and determined that I didn't have to move it from the lot line because adjoining property that can be built on. Because the adjoining property in the 20-foot section from her house cannot be built on. So she eventually went to the town. And then the town letters back and forth, back and forth. Here. So it's up to you guys to tell me whether I'm right or the town is correct. Based on the fact that that lot, number 27, number 29, back in 2000 could not be built on because it didn't meet the requirements of the lot lines, frontage. So the previous owner went for a variance in the year of 2000. And the town granted that variance. And I think it's on one of your exhibits. It's Exhibit E, which shows the location of the foundation. And the town granted that a variance based on this plot plan, which shows a 22.5-foot sideline. I'm going to call it on the north side of the building. So my conclusion was that 22.5 feet plus the 1.7 feet that I have from the lot line meets the code because there's nothing that can be built on that section of land. Well, you go for a variance to the town, but if you were to go to a variance with the town, as you probably know, they'd have to notify everyone, post it. Of course, I would object to it. If I lost them, maybe I would have to move the tanks. But as they stand now, I believe they were for the last 20 years and we're currently follow the code.
This is Jared from the board. So you're stating that they already received the variance to make that a building? That lot is the
Yeah,
building?
exhibit E.
So that variance states that they are allowed to build on that lot?
No, they are allowed to build on that lot as noted on the attached plot plan, which shows the foundation and the setbacks on the north side of the building. So that dictates that you cannot build on that lot. It's interesting. I mean, everything will be fine if it didn't have the words or lot lines of adjoining property that can be built on. I mean, NFPA has a similar statement. It doesn't say lot lines that can be built on. It shows a line. And the words, the words, a line that can be built to. And those tanks were installed by John Ray and Son, and they followed NFPA code.
This is Laura on the board. So you're basically saying when the tanks were installed, they met the code because the lot next door could not be built on, and therefore they should be grandfathered in. Because even though the lot next door did receive a variance and did get built on, your tanks met the code at the time.
They met the code at the time, and they meet the code now. I'm not asking for any grandfathering because they are within 10, distance is 10 feet.
Although, as you already noted, a lot that was previously unbuildable got a variance and got built on, so there is no guarantee that that 22 feet couldn't at some point have an addition to the house and be built on.
That's true, but that would apply to any
Right,
piece of parcel of land in the state of New York.
right. So it could be interpreted as a lot that can be built on, as opposed to something that might have a utility easement, which could not be built on, or a ravine, which could not be built on. So one could interpret it as, even though your setback, your 22 and a half feet on your neighbor's property is not buildable according to the local zoning laws, that could change. You know, it's not physically impossible to build there. It's only administratively not possible.
Well, again, let me ask you a question. Why did the state of New York not just say 10 feet from the lot line?
That's a good question, which we don't really have an answer for since we didn't write it.
Probably because you have the river on one lot line, that is a valid place where you can't build. That lot line is one of those lot lines that the state of New York is addressing. It's not addressing zoning code issues.
Say that again?
You can't build on the river. So the lot line that you have with the river, that's what that applies to. That doesn't apply to all lot lines.
Well, in this particular case on the river, you could not build on a certain distance
But
from the river.
the river lot line is not the one that's in question right now.
That's correct.
Right. So that's why the state of New York has that exception.
Yes, and the exception is that can be built upon.
Right, so you
Right.
can't build upon the river. You float down the Cohoes Falls.
We're not trying to build on the river, we're trying to build on a piece of
I
property.
understand that, but you asked why that was in the code. That's in the code to give relief for things such as the river lot line. You are talking about a lot line where there's a developed structure.
Adjoining property or lot line. Yeah, I disagree with you. I disagree with you. I mean, there are various, throughout the state of New York, throughout the town of Colony, there are different situations. I used to have a house where I had to be 50 feet from the sideline. These, I built 4 other houses on the street, and the setback on the side had to be 20 feet.
That could change tomorrow with the change in the zoning regulations.
Well, that's true, but if you change the zoning regulations,
Doesn't
then-
change the fire
then I
code,
might be asking for a grandfather, right?
only if you're legal at the time of the change.
Well, we are.
Have you investigated the possibility of a lot line adjustment, or you don't have that kind of relationship with the neighbor that you can't correct this that way?
And how, and to what extent?
You would redraw the lot line, the town would approve it, you would file a new survey with the county, and it would change the lot line, and then you'd be
You know, I
compliant.
don't know of, you know, you have to show me instances. That would be like, you know, you could catch a disease by going swimming in the river. Chances of that are like, or better yet, win the lottery.
It's just a routine administrative
Yeah, I
action
understand.
that
Anyway, let
you
me
could,
ask
you could use to address this non-compliance factor,
Let me
and then
ask-
you'd be compliant.
Let me answer your question. It's that question.
Okay,
That one.
so a lot line adjustment is not on the table. You cannot correct this issue by moving your lot line. That's all I wanted to know.
You could, but I would not take that route because my interpretation is that those tanks are in accordance with code.
This is Jeff Hinderleiter from the board. What do the LP, because the survey for your property shows that you have a natural gas service in addition to the LP. What is the LP service versus what the natural gas service is?
Are you asking me what device does it serve?
Correct.
You broke up there a little bit.
Oh, my apologies. Yes, I noticed on the survey that you submitted that the surveyor identified a natural gas service coming, to the property on the
Yes.
north side of the structure. but you also have LP tanks. And so I'm curious as to what the LP services for the structure, is it what appliances or what equipment does the LP service?
The LP serviced, serviced a hot air furnace. It does not service that hot air furnace any longer. And maybe I should point something out, which I did in text to the package I submitted to you and to the town. They asked that I remove those tanks by January 3rd. They asked me that in December, which is middle of the winter. Regardless, to make things easy on everybody, so there's no stress, no complaints between the owner and the town, I removed those tanks and connected the hot air furnace to the natural gas. Does that answer your question?
Yes, that's what I was curious. So right now, the LP tanks in question, you desire them to be there for heating?
I'm sorry,
They're currently.
say again, sir?
Yeah, my apologies. So right now, the LP tanks are not in service, but you want them to be in service.
No, they're gone. They're gone. They're removed.
Oh. Okay.
This is Laura on the board. Why are you wasting our time with this if they're no longer an issue?
I was a code enforcement official for the state of New York for a long time, 75. This is a question of principle that these people put me through. And if I'm correct, then I should not have removed those tanks. And I want to make sure that the code is interpreted correctly by code enforcement officials in the future. That's why I'm here. And I stated that somewhere. So we can go through the file and figure it out. That's why I'm here. That's your question.
I'm ready to deliver.
Yeah, do we have a code enforcement official from the town of Colony on the call that would like to speak?
Yes, my name is Christian Burge. I'm the Director of Building and Fire Services for the town of Colony, 347 Old Niskayuna Road in Latham, 12110. I believe our position on the topic was established in our November 18th, 2024 letter, which was outlined by the state, and that this was a differentiation between zoning setbacks and building code.
Thank you.
I'd like to add to that. The state code was established to identify situations like this. And I think the state code, that's why they use the words lot lines that can be built upon. Because you have to use that to interpret all the circumstances and make a decision. So that's sort of kind of a rebuttal or a supplement to what this gentleman just said.
This is Andy from the board. I'd also like to state that, there's an interpretation of what the code is intended to do. And I feel that, when looking at this and looking at the words of what we're trying to examine here, ultimately it's about what is the code intended to do? And obviously it's to protect the adjacent property in this case. So
That's correct, not the lot line.
Not the lot line.
Adjacent property.
And so, and that, because of zoning regulations, that line can change. And if you look at any of the fire separation distances or how close somebody can build to the property line, that's all in the state code. And what they're required to do with no overhangs if they're under 5 feet. So that lot line that can be built upon can change based on zoning. So I just want to make that clear.
On a variance, not zoning, on a variance.
These are two separate issues. Building code and zoning codes.
And lot lines can be changed without a variance.
Yep.
It happens every day.
So,
Okay.
the,
Okay. So what was the point of that, I guess?
that the lot line that can be built upon could be a constantly moving item.
And how would that apply in this particular situation? Tomorrow,
What,
you change the
they
lot
get a
line.
variance to build a
Who
garage.
changes the lot line?
If they get a variance to build a garage next to their house,
Now, so you gotta be careful. You just used the word variance. You said that has nothing to do with it.
which allows them to build closer to the property line.
Yeah,
And then that changes,
not the lot line.
The lot line can change also. You can have a lot line amended. You can move a lot line. This lot line could be straightened out and moved right down to the
And
river.
who does that?
The property owners.
Well, we wouldn't do that. I thought I answered. that
Well, you
question.
wouldn't, but he's saying it could.
good,
Okay.
so.
So if you're looking for a decision from us, then we'll
we'll
deliberate.
deliberate.
Is there anyone else?
Is there anyone else that would like to speak before we go into deliberation?
This is
Yeah.
Craig Birch from the town of Colony. I would just like to clarify, I believe that the property adjacent was eventually built upon, so we do have that confirmation.
now
that
built?
It is now developed.
Yeah,
We understand that. Yes.
And it is also, we'd like to confirm Mr. Cavala's statements that our inspector did go to the site and confirm that the LP gas have been removed at this point.
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, the board would like to go into deliberation. We'd like to go off the record.
Go off the record, and we're going to request all guests to leave the room. Okay, on the record? Oh, okay. Okay.
Still working on it.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your patience. Upon the application of John Travalis and upon taking testimony and hearing an argument thereon at a duly noted hearing before the Capital Region Albany Board of Review, this hearing was held via video conference call WebEx at the following location: 1 Commerce Plaza, 99 Washington Avenue, Conference Room 505, Albany, New York, on May 23rd. On July 16, 2025. And upon all other papers in this matter, the board makes the following determination. Nature of the grievance and relief sought, the petition pertains appealing the determination of a code enforcement official CEO from the town of Colony Building Department to remove or relocate the 2 existing LP gas containers at least 10 feet away from the lot line to meet table 6104.3 of the 2020 Fire Code of New York State for the property located at 27 Island View Road, Cohoes, New York, 12047, Town of Colony, County of Albany, State of New York. NYCRR Part 1225, 2020 Fire Code of New York, Section 6104.3, container location states LP gas containers shall be located with respect to buildings and lot lines of adjoining property that can be built upon in accordance with table 6104.3. The petitioner is appealing the determination of the code official CEO from the town of Colony to remove, relocate the LP gas containers from the lot line agreement table 6104.3 of the 2020 Fire Code of New York State. The findings of facts. Number one, the subject building is an existing one-family dwelling, 1 story in height, located at 27 Island View Road, Cohoes, New York, 12047, County of Albany, State of New York. Number two, the petitioner refers that he bought the house with two 120-gallon LP gas containers installed 1.7 feet from the lot line in 2023. The petitioner refers that the date of installation of these two LP gas containers have been removed, and the natural gas line has been installed to the home, and the town and Colony building department has confirmed they have been removed. Number four, the town and Colony building department issued a notice to the owner to remove or relocate the gas containers at least 10 feet away from the property, the lot line, to meet table 1604.3 of the 2020 Fire Codes of New York State. Number five, the petitioner does not agree with the determination of the CEO of the town of Colony Building Department and is requesting to overturn the decision. Number six, the CEO from the town of Colony Building Department does not support this appeal. In view of the above findings and upon taking testimony and hearing argument thereon a hearing before the Capital Region Albany Board of Review, the board denies the appeal of the petitioner and therefore sustains the determination of the code enforcement official. Sufficient evidence has been provided by the code official that reversing the determination of the code official substantially adversely affects the law's provision for health, safety, and security. Wherefore, it is determined that the application appealing the determination of the code enforcement official is denied. Can I have a motion from a board member?
This is Laura. I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Seconded. Motion by Laura Ryder, seconded by Jackie Coons. Now I poll the board members. Laura Ryder,
Aye.
Jackie Coons.
Aye.
Jared Berenger.
Aye.
Jeffrey Hindeleiter.
Aye.
And Chair Andy Ellis, aye. For the record, the vote shows 5 ayes, 0 nays. Furthermore, decision is limited to the specific building and application before it as contained within the petition and should not be interpreted to give implied approval of any general plans or specifications presented in support of this application. Chairman Andy Ellis and members Laura Ryder, Jackie Coons, Jeffrey Hindeleiter, and Jared Berenger all concur. So ordered. Yes. Okay. Thank you.
May I just get the spelling of your last name? Oh, thank you for that. You guys can see where. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, so.
The board would now like to hear petition number 2025-0116, petitioner Seaward Avenue LLP.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, okay, good. You can hear me. My name is Joshua Modio. I am one of the partners with Seward Ave LLC. Our legal mailing address is P.O. Box 25, Yorkville, New York, 13495.
All right. This petition pertains to the cellar ceiling shall be protected by plastered ceiling or be equipped with an automatic sprinkler system and wood wainscoting, wood trim, and fire rated doors and corridors, halls, and stairs. The subject building is a 9 dwelling unit apartment building with residential apartments on the first and second and third floor dwelling unit located at 43 Main Street, Village of Yorkville, County of Oneida, State of New York. Relief is requested from Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 28, stairs and entrance halls. In every such dwelling, 3 stories or more in height, the wood wainscoting or other combustible materials on the wall and ceiling surfaces and all the halls shall be removed. In lieu of such removal, the sprinkler system may be installed, or wood wainscoting and combustible surfaces may be treated and or covered with a surface fire retardant approved by the department. In such a dwelling, any entrance door and every door opening to any entrance hall, stair hall, or other public hall connected where that shall be self-closing. The petitioner requests relief to allow the wood wainscoting and trim to remain, but allow the petitioner to treat the wood materials with a fire retardant finish or cover with 3H gypsum board sheathing. And Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 30, cellar ceilings, which states that in every such dwelling, 3 stories or more in height, the ceiling of the cellar or the lowest story, there be no cellar, shall be fire retarded or be equipped with a sprinkler system unless such ceiling has already been plastered to the satisfaction of the department. The petitioner requests relief to allow the alternative additional smoke and heat detectors that are connected to the smoke detectors and alarms located in common areas that are to be connected to a fire panel that communicates to a third-party monitoring or 911 services. And at this time, I'd like to state your case. I know we heard a little bit back in January.
May.
Or May, sorry.
That's all right.
It wasn't that long ago.
No.
Back in May.
Yes. So this is certainly our second time here, and I got to say that well, it's a learning process, let me tell you. And we did learn a lot from our last meeting back in May. Just to catch you up to speed, we have since started moving forward with providing additional safety to our tenants. We have started changing out the doors to the common areas from any of the apartments with a self-closing fire-rated door. And we have installed interconnected fire smoke detectors, 2 in the basement, 1 in the front hallway, and 2 on the second floor, and 1 in the entrance stairway to the 3rd floor. So those are now interconnected to provide the equivalency for smoke. Again, we also started installing self-closing fire-rated doors as money allows. We did not get all of them yet, but we did start installing those. Upon installing those, we have found out that the walls within the common areas, I know we had mentioned last time speaking, it is, I think we clarified, it's not a wainscoting, but it is paneling. But it is installed over a plaster wall. So the home being built circa 1890, they did have plaster within those hallways that somebody at some point has put the paneling over.
Do we have a code enforcement official on line that would like to speak?
I don't believe Mr. Constance is on here. He does work for the Village of Yorkville, which is where this property is located. And today is recycling pickups, which he is also on the highway department.
So you are installing a monitored system in that building, so that
it is not to clarify, it is not a fire system that's connected to the Yorkville Fire Department. No.
No, but third-party vendor, if a fire alarm were to go off in that building, a third-party vendor would then contact 911 and say, hey, there's a fire alarm in this building.
We do not have that connected. No, sir. It's interconnected smoke
Within the
alarms.
building.
Oh, I'm sorry. Repeat that, please.
They are within the building so their notification is to the residents only within the building.
That is correct.
Okay, so it's not monitored.
It is not a monitored system. No, sir. They are the interconnected smoke alarms. That is in the common areas, and again, 2 in the basement. Each apartment also does have smoke detectors within the apartments and fire extinguishers as well.
But the smoke alarms within the apartments, so if there is a fire alarm within the basement, it will not sound within the residential units.
Not within the apartment, no, sir, but the interconnected in the common area is located directly outside of the apartment doors in the common area.
This is Andy from the board. Are you proposing to still leave that panel board on the walls in the hallway now that you've investigated, or?
Well, certainly we learned last time we spoke back in May. So we have not moved forward with that until we wanted to have this hearing to kind of determine what exactly needs to be done. We have looked at the fire retardant paint to go over those. There are 2 specifics that we learned from some friends of ours who are also in the rental industry. Flame Off and Fire Guard E84, both eco-friendly, both meet the Class A compliance. We were looking to see if that is something that you would allow us to paint those common areas with.
Okay.
We didn't
Jeff,
we didn't want to put the investment into that yet until we spoke to you.
Jeff, do you have any questions?
I don't. I think it should be noted that the way the multiple residence law is written, the approval of a product isn't on us on the board. I believe the way that the provision is written is that it's approved by your local authority having jurisdiction.
Right. Yeah. Local fire department.
Okay, I know Mr. Constance is not on here. However, he did suggest that we may have to paint those walls with a fire retardant. I can't speak for him, obviously, but I'm in communications with Mr. Constance.
Yeah, if I mainly state that any decision we make, we're not going to supersede the local code enforcement.
Okay.
And their ability to make that approval. So the alternatives that are presented within 61B, Section 28, are that you either remove it, you protect it. Those are your 2 choices. And so I believe your application, you are asking to not have to add sprinklers. So you're proposing to protect it by one of the acceptable methods, either a covering or that's what we're just clarifying.
Yes, sir. Yes, Jeff.
Okay. Board good with questions?
Yeah.
I'd like to go into deliberation. Like to go off the record. Thank you. Back on the record, petition 2025-0116, upon the application of Joshua Amodio for Seward Avenue LLC, PO Box 25, Yorkville, New York, and upon taking testimony and hearing argument thereon at a duly noted hearing before the Capital Region Albany Board of Review held via video conference call WebEx at 1 Commerce Plaza, 99 Washington Avenue, 5th floor, conference room 505, Albany, New York, 12231 on July 16, 2025. And upon all of the papers in this matter, the board makes the following determination. The nature of the grievance and relief sought, the petition pertains to the cellar ceiling shall be protected by plaster ceiling or be equipped with an automatic sprinkler system and wood wainscoting and wood trim, fire rated doors and corridors, halls and stairs. The subject building is 9 dwelling unit apartment building with residential apartments on the first, second, and third floor, located at 43 Main Street, Village of Yorkville, County of Oneida, State of New York. Relief is requested from Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 30, cellar ceilings, which states that in every such dwelling, 3 stories or more in height, the ceiling of the cellar or the lowest story, if there be no cellar, shall be fire retarded or equipped with a sprinkler system unless such ceiling has already been plastered to the satisfaction of the department. The petitioner requests relief to allow the alternative of additional smoke and heat detectors that are interconnected to the smoke detectors and alarms located in the common areas and that are connected to the fire panel that communicates to a third party or 911 services. Finding of facts, the petition pertains to an apartment building approximately 5,676 square feet, 2 stories with a 3rd floor occupied attic constructed circa 1890 with apartments located at 43 Main Street, Village of Yorkville, County of Oneida, State of New York. Number 2, the building that is subject to the petition is properly classified under 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 1, Section 433 as a multiple dwelling. Number 3, the subject building is required to conform with provisions of Article 3 of the Multiple Residence Law as provided by Section 25, and that it existed on or before July 1st, 1952, or was converted to a multiple dwelling after July 1st, 1952. It is not a hotel or similar dwelling subject to Article 4 of the Multiple Residence Law. Number 4, the building that is subject to the petition is a 3-story in height, type 5B construction, approximately 5,676 square feet in area with dwelling units on each of the 2nd and 3rd floor for a total of 9 units in total. The building was constructed on or about 1890 as a single-family residence. Number 5, the petitioner shall resolve the Section 28 violation, which states that the wood panel and trim is not allowed in the corridors or stairways in such a dwelling. That entrance door and every door opening into the entrance hall, stair hall, or other public hall connection with and shall be fire rated and self-closing. The petitioner states that the exposed wood beadboard sheathing will be treated with a fire retardant to the satisfaction of the local fire department.
Correct.
Number 6, the lowest story cellar ceiling multiple family dwelling is not enclosed with a fire retardant material and does not contain a sprinkler system. A fire in the cellar could easily spread throughout the building before it is noticed. There is a mechanical system piping and electrical wiring along the ceiling of this unoccupied cellar, which would make installing a fire retardant ceiling very difficult. Number 7, the building presently has working smoke detectors in the basement, front, and rear stairs. Each of the apartment has smoke and carbon monoxide detectors in the living rooms and bedrooms. The installation, number 8, the installation of smoke and fire alarms that are interconnected to the stair smoke detectors will provide early notice a possible fire event and notify the tenants.
Correct.
The petition, number 9, the petitioner states that the basement presently has smoke and carbon monoxide detector alarms that have been replaced with interconnected devices throughout the basement. The basement, number 10, the basement is unoccupied except for heating equipment and water heaters, and otherwise not used for any tenant or laundry. Number 11, the petitioner states that there are multiple code-compliant means of egress as defined by New York State Multiple Residence Law.
Yep.
Number 12, the Village of Yorkville code official has stated that the residence is well maintained and that the proposed alternative to addressing the violations would be accepted. Number 13, the local code official has been consulted in this matter and supports the granting of the variance. Conclusion of law. The proposed variance will not substantially adversely affect the code's provision for health, safety, and security. Strict compliance with the provisions of the Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code would entail practical difficulties, economic hardship, or otherwise be unwarranted, because such would be physically or legally impracticable and would be unnecessary in light of alternatives without the lost level of safety achieved the intended objective of the code. Determination, wherefore it is determined that the application for the variance from Chapter 61B of the Consolidated Laws of New York, Multiple Residence Law, Article 3, Section 30, will be hereby granted with the following conditions. Number 1, that a minimum of 2 smoke alarm devices be provided in the cellar, that a smoke alarm be provided on each landing on the front and rear exit stairways, and that smoke and carbon monoxide detectors will be provided and located throughout the building as required by code. Number 2, that the heat detector alarm or smoke detector be provided on the occupied side of one entrance door to the 9 dwelling units and interconnected with the common areas alarm system. Number 3, that all the smoke, carbon monoxide detector, heat detector, and heat detector devices shall be interconnected together as one system and in conformance with NFPA 72. Number 4, that the wood beadboard sheathing and wood trim be treated with a fire retardant to satisfy the local fire department and inspected annually by the local CO and to be in compliance with the codes of New York State. Number 5, that tenant storage or laundry services or equipment shall not be allowed in the unfinished basement area. Number 6, all residential doors, apartment entry doors to common areas be replaced with a self-closing fire-rated door. I'd like to make a motion.
May I, before we second that motion, I just want to clarify 2 of these conditions. Number 2 states that a heat detector or smoke detector be provided on the occupied side of one entrance door to the 9 dwelling units. Am I clear that the applicant said the system that you're putting in the hallways is only in the hallways, so there is no, the common connection, will it have a device inside on the apartment side that's connected to the common alarm system has to have one notifier within each apartment? That's what I'm understanding this condition is? On the occupied side of one entrance door to each dwelling unit? Not just in the hallway?
Okay, who am I speaking with?
This is Laura on the board, I'm sorry.
Hi, pleasure, thank you. The interconnecteds that we currently have, they are in the common areas, including 2 in the basement also. But they are in the common areas. The interconnecteds are not within the occupied apartment.
So the language of our
they do have smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors in the apartments, but the interconnecteds are not within the apartments.
I
Currently.
understood to be that was the case, so that changes the ability to notify in the apartments if there's an event out of the apartments. Right. So
That we have we are not opposed to putting the interconnecteds into the
Okay.
apartments.
So let's
Okay,
leave it
so
right that way.
we can leave it that way, and you're agreeing to that?
I can agree to that, yes.
Okay,
And then the other is number 3, just clarifying for
Yep.
me, that the language as condition 3 is read right now, it does not require connection to a third-party monitor. Correct.
correct.
Good.
And it is not currently.
And it's not
It is
currently,
not
nor there are
current.
no plans to do so. Okay,
Okay.
Good.
No problem.
but so,
Good catch on that other one.
okay. So
Thank you.
Jared has made a motion. Jackie, is ready to second.
Yeah, I'll second it. As amended.
That's fine.
Well, it's not amended.
Not really amended,
Right,
as clarified.
As clarified.
Yeah, that's correct.
Now I'll pull the board members, Jackie Coons.
Aye.
Laura Ryder,
Aye.
Jared Berenger.
Aye.
Jeffrey Hindeleiter,
Aye.
and Chairman Andy Ellis, aye. Let the record show the vote, 5 ayes, 0 nays. This decision is limited to the specific building and application before it as contained within the petition and should not be interpreted to give implied approval of any general plans or specifications presented in support of this application. Chairman Andy Ellis and members Laura Ryder, Jackie Coons, Jared Berenger, and Jeffrey Hindeleiter all concur. So ordered. And at this time, we'll read a negative declaration. Motion for a negative declaration for short EAF for Board of Review. That the Board of Review find and determine that the issuance of a variance in petition 2025 -00 or -0116 will not have a significant environmental impact and will not have a significant adverse effect on any significant fish or wildlife habitat, scenic resource, or of statewide significance, important agricultural land or area included in an approved local waterfront revitalization program. And number 2, that the Department of State be authorized to sign and deliver on behalf of the Board of Review and the Department of State, the State Environmental Quality Review Act short environmental assessment form indicating that no or small impact may occur in response to each question in part 2 of the form and determining in part 3 of the form that the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time, folks.
You're welcome.
Will I be receiving an email follow-up with any of these conditions?
Yes. And,
Okay.
it'll take the state a little while.
Yep.
But
Not a
yes,
problem.
And the building code official will also.
Great.
Andy,
Yeah,
we need to do a vote on seeker.
Oh, we do a vote on
It's
it.
a resolution.
We just did.
No, we read it, we didn't vote.
We just read it.
No.
And,
I'll make the
and-
motion.
and actually, just so you know, we really should be doing seeker first before we do the,
Yes, that's right.
granting of the
We
position.
do the single
okay.
motion and vote
Aye.
first, then we'll go for variance motion.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
So do we need to vote on that?
Yes, I'll make the motion to accept the seeker.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I'll pull the board. Jackie Coons,
Aye.
Laura Ryder,
Aye.
Jared Berenger,
Aye.
Jeff Hindeleiter,
Aye.
and Chairman Andy Ellis, aye. State for the record, let the record show that there are 5 ayes, 0 nays. And Chairman Andy Ellis and board member Laura Ryder, Jackie Coons, Jared Berenger, and Jeffrey Hindeleiter all concur. Okay,
Okay.
Thank you again.
you're welcome.
Just one moment.
Yep.
Okay. Quite frankly, it's wrong. I'm gonna talk image declaration of hearing. Attorneys don't know what they're talking about.
So it's a rainy statement. It's not really.
Yeah, because if you read a lot of the actual law, you have to make a determination that the variance will have no negative declaration. You can't do determination what they would have denied it.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, it's written.
For the record.
Yeah.
Written, it shall be done. Brian, P-A-R-Y.
Lockman.
That's the deed central.
Lockman, Lockman.
M-A-N?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
That's Randall, R-A-N-D-A-L-L-H-E-A-C-H.
Anthony Hines, H-Y-N-E-S. Anthony Hines, H-Y-N-E-S.
Yes. But they still want us to do, well, only if we decide to.
Thank you for your patience with our technical difficulties. We on the record? Okay. For our final case of the day, petition 2025-0447. Petitioner Outlaws Kill Holding LLC. Nature of the grievance and relief sought. The petition pertains to a construction of 2,400 square foot addition to an existing distillery building. The proposed building is a 1-story in height, occupancy A2 type 4 heavy timber construction, and is located at 7152 Amsterdam Road, Glenville, New York, 12302. Town of Glenville, County of Schenectady, State of New York. The petitioner is appealing the determination of occupancy load and requirement of an automatic sprinkler system by the code enforcement official CEO from the town of Glenville. Applicable code section 19 NYCRR part 1221, 2020 Building Code of New York State, section 1004.5, areas without fixed seating, states that the number of occupants shall be computed at the rate of 1 occupant per unit of area as prescribed in table 1004.5. For the areas without fixed seating, the occupant load shall be not less than that the number determined by dividing the floor area under consideration by the occupant load factor assigned to the function of the space as set forth in table 1004.5. Where the intended function is not listed in table 1004.5, the building official shall establish a function based on a listed function that most nearly resembles the intended function. Exception where the approved by the building official that the actual number of occupants for whom each occupied space, floor, or building is designed, although less than those determined by calculation, shall be permitted to be used in the determination of the design occupant load. NYCR 1221, 2020 Building Code of New York State, section F, 903.2.1.2, group A2 states, F, 903.2.1.2, group A2, automatic sprinkler system shall be provided throughout stories containing group A2 occupancy and throughout the stories of the group A2 occupancy to and including levels of the exit discharge serving the occupancy where one or the following conditions exist. Number 1, the fire area exceeds 5,000 square feet. Number 2, the fire area has an occupant load of 100 or more. Number 3, the fire area is located on a floor other than a level of exit discharge serving such occupancy. At this time, I'd like the petitioner to state your case.
Good morning. My name is Randall Beach. I'm an attorney at 1 Commerce Plaza.
Albany, New York. With me is Tony Hines, principal of the applicant, and also Brian Lockman, property manager. As the chair stated, this case involves a 2,400 square foot building that is in addition to existing building at 7152 Amsterdam Road. It is a one-story building, 23 feet height to peak, classified as an assembly space A2, with the occupancy load of 15 square feet per person, pursuant to the code. That would put us into 160 feet, requiring 160 people, requiring a sprinkler system for fire suppression. However, this property is served by a private well. We are not on a public water system, and the town has indicated to us that it is not planning to bring public water system. The word was ever to this portion of the town, but let's just say at least get the future benefit of the doubt. Not in the near future. We are asking for relief from the sprinkler requirement. Building is, as I said, it's a one-story building. It is open like space. It has 13 doors within that 2,400 square foot area. Each of those doors are very large garage door openings, which will remain open as weather permits. And when occupants are in the premises, there are 2 man doors and 3 French doors. So the furthest, I was actually on the property yesterday and measured the furthest anyone could possibly be from an opening to the exterior of the premises would be 23 feet, and that is at the extreme. You have a fully monitored fire alarm system, strobes, sirens, pole stations, and we believe that with those, the presence of the doors as well as the monitored fire system allows us to operate that space and maintain the required safety.
Do we have a building code official for the town of Glenville on the call?
Yes. Yes, good morning. My name is Naeem Afzal. I'm the building code official here for the town of Glenville.
Can you please state your legal address for the court reporter?
18 Glenridge Road, Glenville, New York, 12302.
Thank you. You're welcome to add your comments.
I think it's self-explanatory from what the chair and the applicant stated. We denied this building permit application for the 2,400 square feet building enclosed because it needed a fire suppression system. I was asked to lower the calculation to 30 instead of 15 per square feet per person, but I don't see how I can justify that much. The building was divided into 2 separate spaces. One's an open pavilion and the other is an enclosed space, both 1,200 square feet. They plan on enclosing the open pavilion if the variance is approved.
Okay, I'd like to open up to the board for questions.
This is Jared from the board. So, like, when you're looking at the property, so the main building that this is an addition to, so that total for the addition and that building will be a total of 100 people?
No, so there's a 2-hour firewall separating this, so it's technically a standalone building. It's just butted up to the existing building that's there.
So that's, so that's a standalone building, so restrooms?
Yep.
In that building itself?
Yes.
So there's a 2-hour fire rating all the way through roof level, all the way to, so you're stating that that's a separate building altogether, correct?
This is Jackie. I have a question for the code enforcement official. So you have stated that you believe your calculation is correct and that
modifying that calculation you are opposed to. Yesterday, we received a letter through Department of State from your town supervisor acknowledging that, but then at the end it says the town has no opposition to the applicant's appeal/variance or the requested relief. So it's really what that letter should be saying is that they have no opposition to the variance and the requested relief, but the town still supports their analysis of the occupancy load? Because it sounds like you support your occupancy load calculation.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the explanation is or reasoning behind that letter, but I was approached to say that I will accept the calculation being 30 square feet per person, which the code allows me to lower the amount of people that can go in that building. I just, in my experience and my comfort, I don't feel comfortable saying a building will only be allowed to have 80 people when it's clearly designed to have an occupant load of 160.
So or what you would prefer the board to be granting a variance to utilize the lesser number, but to still uphold your occupancy load analysis?
Whatever the board decides to do, I'm not opposed to them having.
Well, it's procedural. So if we uphold your decision or we overturn your decision, that matters versus if we grant a variance and then we condition the variance on things such as utilizing the alternative occupancy load.
If it's determined that a sprinkler system is not required, then that's fine with me. I mean, that's why they're getting a variance, right? It doesn't meet code.
This is Jeff, underwriter from the board. You stated that you denied their building permit. We were provided pictures of a constructed building. Can you clarify what you denied?
Yes, the original building permit was for a open 2,400 square feet building. That's the addition to the existing building that's there. We denied that permit originally. The applicant came back with another design, splitting the building in two, having a firewall in the middle and having one half of the building be an open pavilion. So the occupant load was divided into two separate spaces.
So the pictures that were sent of the current construction show what we would call a partially enclosed building. It's no longer a pavilion. It's got garage doors. Now it's fully enclosed with those doors. So this is no longer a pavilion. How did they get from open pavilion to what was built?
I believe they're hoping that they will be granted a variance, so they're proceeding with a construction project that we didn't really approve that, but we approved the open space.
So you have not issued an amended building permit or something that is showing the building as it currently is built?
No. We have a building permit for an open pavilion based on the plans we were submitted.
Were conversations had between the applicant and you prior to enclosing the building? Or was I guess to put a point to it, was this ask permission or ask forgiveness?
I'm gonna say it's ask for forgiveness at this point.
Okay.
Okay. The applicant is shaking their heads and raising their hand, so what would they like to offer?
Actually, I would like to correct that. The original application was as the code enforcement officer has indicated the building that plans you have and the building that you've seen. It was then discussed to split that building in two as the code enforcement officer indicated. However, that as soon as that was seen on the ground, it became not feasible. We then went back to the town planning board, changed our use and plans for a, make this, because it was not going to be feasible while this application was pending. We changed and got approval from the planning board to make this a, as originally built for storage. And we were told by the town to proceed under the original building permit that was issued that reflects what you see now. That is how that.
So to clarify, this is Laura, to clarify, so that the town planning board told you to proceed under the original building permit.
And the building department did as well. They said we can operate off the current permit that we were still had, and they were gonna make the changes on their end, proceed with the storage build out.
Okay, but at what point did it become a group A2 occupancy and not storage?
That was at the point when we determined that doing the two separation pieces wasn't feasible. That was when we went back to the town, so this is gonna be feasible, can we turn this into a storage facility?
But you're not calling it a storage facility.
No,
I
we
mean, so
are,
that's what I'm
our
saying. We are-
appeal was, I believe it was filed in late March. At that point, storage, permission for the storage facility had not been granted, or I'm sure we were on the agenda yet for planning board. Storage facility was, we wanted to be able to have permission from the planning board and the building department to continue to build because of the short building season, what we had planned. The division of the building would have been quite easy if that's how we have had, would have done, if we put a wall, dividing wall down the center, or across the center. So we proceeded with the planning board to get the use changed to storage, to get those plans approved. The building plans never changed. At the
So
building level.
what does your building permit say right now for a description of the project?
It says, we can build what we have done.
For what purpose?
Like storage or assembly?
All building permits and certificates of occupancy should indicate the type of use.
Yep.
So the current building permit that's in effect today, not originally and then changed, like, if we looked at their documents in their office right now, what would it say?
Said to support distillery operations.
It's an expansion off the distillery that we use for,
So distillery is the use right now.
that's what it's, Randall's current building is distillery. It's a, we do for basic people come and get drinks, and this was.
So it nowhere on that building permit does it say for storage as an S1 or an S2 occupancy.
Correct.
It's still all acknowledging the
Correct.
other use.
Correct.
And the current distillery use in the existing building includes a tasting room, which could be a group assembly.
Otherwise, it would be in the F occupancy because you have no public and it's just fabrication and
Correct.
manufacturing.
All right, so that's just getting the history, right? So this is Laura. So back to sort of what Jared touched upon. It's hard to tell from these plans. Are you saying that there are restrooms in this new space?
Yeah.
Yes.
How many and
Yeah.
where?
They should be called on the drawing. They're in the back right corner of the building.
In what is called utility space?
There's the utility space and there's two bathrooms right next to it.
But that does not show on your plan.
I think that we had to update the site plan, and the building layout when we went back.
Do you have a floor plan that shows them? On where they are, or can you sketch on your plan where
Yeah,
they're
yeah, we got they're two 88 compliant bathrooms.
So one men, one women.
Not just labeled on one. So.
Okay, so they're in that
Oh,
compound.
they're in that.
Okay, all right.
When we switched it to essentially to continue construction on the building, when we switched to the storage group, they wanted us just a white box that as one utility room. But we already had all the infrastructure in the slab prior to that. There's no toilets or sinks or anything set right now. It's just plumbing in the floor.
Okay. And the existing space that has a tasting room now, you're saying you're counting on that being considered a separate building, so it also has its own restrooms?
Sure.
Just to kind of get a sense of the size of it, what kind of area is the, not the distilling area, not the restrooms, but like just the assembly area within the existing building? Just
There's a first floor seating area as well as a second floor, technically mezzanine and seating area.
And that has an occupancy load of 97, I believe.
including the mezzanine?
Yes, between those two spaces
Okay,
in the existing building.
okay. And when this is in operation, but people are free to walk back and forth between the two spaces? Or no, is the expanded
You have
space?
to walk outside and come into the other.
I think the plan shows doors into.
Yeah, well, they're fire doors. They're not supposed to be for, like, you can't leave them open, is what I'm saying. I mean, you could pass through other doors. if you
Right,
want.
well, that's what I meant, so.
One is
Right.
in the kitchen as a service door, and the other does connect to the first floor seating space.
Okay.
But it would be, it's anticipated that most times for that event, additional new space, there's no new space. To be clear, that is a standalone space, that it would be an event space. Well, not, as now, if we have an event, we would have to, we basically close a private park. This would allow us to continue to operate and still host events, be it, you have craft events, not just banquets.
Right, and so, given this huge space and the fact that you really are asking for double the amount of density essentially, but you're willing to sort of limit it to 100 people, basically. Am I understanding that
Yes.
correctly? So it seems like a lot of space for 100 people, so that.
Well, ideally, we'd love to have to have a complete relief of the sprinkler required. But certainly, if we are faced with having to have this space now be constructed as storage, the overkill for storage on this property and a lot of expenses and reducing the occupancy to what the board would accept. Like to reduce the occupancy.
Right. So, but there could be a time when you have up to 97 people in the original, plus
There could be.
an event going
There
on.
could be.
So.
Yes. But the original space has.
Right. And how many exits does the existing space have
The existing space has
that are not these fire doors?
that are not those fire.
And they
Correct.
are separated enough that they meet code, they're on different
Yes.
walls?
Yep.
The distance between
All
exits
built
is
code.
met?
And in my calculation, my statement regarding gate doors, additional space does not count, obviously, those fire doors.
Right.
That would bring you into another interior.
Okay. I'll just say for the record, I think we code people know that overhead doors don't count as exits, right? Because you cannot open them proper way in an emergency. So we've got 5 doors.
Okay.
Just throw that out there. Which is still probably enough. Okay. You had any other questions there?
Are you intending to have, your big plan here, looks like around the building, you've added paver patio. Is that outdoor dining space that's gonna contribute to the site occupant load, or is that just walking space?
It's anticipated that that's not dining space. We would have some chairs out there sitting. But that's all. There's no, to be clear, there's no regular dining at this facility. We have the space we are in now for the adjoining building, we serve pizza to our patrons, but that's not going to be what this new building is for. It's not, we're not building this space, or haven't had this space built to have 200 people buying pizza, because we have 200 people now coming every Friday. This would be for special events only.
Do the 5 doors in the new space all have panic bars on them? Exit devices,
They have levers,
levers?
Yes.
Okay.
and I think they have, I could switch them to crash bars if that's what it takes.
That'd be required depending on your occupancy.
Right, yeah.
I know the French doors have crash bars, and I think the man doors have levers on them, but we could very easily switch those.
Is there an exit sign above
There
each of the
is.
5 doors?
Yes.
not the open. door,
Correct. The man doors have illuminated access sign.
including the French doors as well.
Yep.
And do you have emergency lighting throughout the space according to the code?
We do, the exit sign provide the emergency lighting.
Okay, and what about outside, are the outdoor lights connected to any kind of emergency? Because if it's a pitch black night and power goes out,
So,
once they exit, where do they go? Can they find their footing?
so we have wraparound lighting around the whole entire building, some photocell that runs, dusk to dawn. And then we have low voltage lighting through all the patio, so the whole outside's illuminated regardless.
But the items that are on a photocell, do they have battery backup? That's my question. So if power goes out, they go out.
The emergency light.
They're not emergency lights.
So the only things that would continue working are well, actually, the low voltage lights are not solar. They're also hardwired.
Yeah, but I don't believe they have a battery backup on them, but if we had to do something with the emergency light on the exterior, we could.
And all 5 of the doors exit you out onto a level paved surface.
Correct.
Where you can then get into the parking lot
Correct.
far enough away. Okay, Jared, did you look at fire truck access?
Yeah, based on that, that's what I was looking at the overhead here, so you have, it's going around that entire building, you're within 30 feet of it.
Does it concern you that there's parking right up against the building here?
No.
What's your ceiling treatment in the building? It wasn't clear on the drawings, what it shows, blown-in insulation, but does not identify what the material that's protecting the trusses is.
It's a 10-inch tongue and groove, 3/4 inch board.
On the
On the bottom of the truss.
okay. So that's fully enclosed, that is what you're
Correct. Yeah, the trusses are fully enclosed, and then there's blow-in insulation on top of the finished thing, see from the inside looking up. It's tongue and groove all the way up.
And there's nothing between the insulation and the tongue group. Just,
I think they blow in directly on top of the tongue and groove. The insulation hasn't gone in yet. And it's non-flammable insulation that they put in there.
so this is Andy from the board. Just to clarify, I'm looking at the plan with occupancy load calculation, which I assume is probably closer to what you originally have or what you have right now with the separated spaces. So you have 2 fire doors, one that goes into a kitchen area. Is that,
Yes.
That's not a current plan, though. That's the plan from when they were going to divide this space into 2. That wall is not going to be built anymore.
so there's no kitchen area
No,
now?
it's in the existing building.
It's in the existing
So the
building.
firewall.
Okay.
goes into-
I was just trying to clarify whether or not there was a kitchen in there. Okay,
Right.
all right.
Kitchen's over here somewhere.
Yep, that's fine.
Right, this is all one.
When I was looking at this, I was looking at,
I know, it's
A
a
different
minute
wall.
to figure out
Yep,
too.
okay.
Yep.
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 I got it.
I think it isn't like a full operating cooking kitchen, like gas stoves or anything. It's just very, very basic, just like prep kitchen, more or less for the drinks and, Randall's a little electric pizza.
So the utility room became the ADA compliant
Yeah,
bathroom.
there's 2 bathrooms and a utility room.
Okay.
I have no further questions.
Jeff, do you have any other questions?
Yeah, I guess, when did the code officer become aware that, because to be clear, a planning board does not have authority over the building codes. They don't have authority to issue decisions, amend permits or processes. So at what point did you, the applicant, go back to, I guess I'm trying to discern the communication between a code officer who issued a permit. We have 2 sets of drawings that don't match. You're saying the drawings were updated here, and what you've updated the bathrooms as a utility room. but you're saying they're going to be bathrooms, but there aren't any doors shown in that. But are the doors really there or not? You know, and so we have two sets of drawings, and what permit is in place? Because if you're going to change your use midstream, that's a reanalysis, and so something should have happened else. And so, when did you make the code officer aware that you were going to build something different than what he permitted?
So
Let me, this
sorry.
is Randall. Go ahead, Naeem.
Yeah, Naeem Abdul, I'm the code official. So, correction, I am aware of the changes that was made, that it's being changed to a S1 storage. We are on the same page with that. I was just in the mindset of the variance going back to the assembly space with the two divisions. So we are aware of the changes being made, that it's currently being built as a S1 storage, but in the hopes that it will be changed back over to a event space if the variance is approved. If the variance is not approved, then it's going to be staying as an S1 storage.
So Naeem, you have up-to-date current drawings and have amended the permit to show that there aren't 3 doors penetrating the utility room. There's 1 door. Like, you have the up-to-date plans of what this building currently is?
Yes. Let me find it.
We have them. I don't know if you've accepted them and their permit has been amended, because they're stating there are 2 bathrooms and a utility room. Their drawing shows just the utility room. I understand that some work happened prior that was going to use that, but are those walls studded up? Are those door penetrations in? Are those enclosed spaces?
As of right now, we have not had another inspection there. So we will take a look at that to see if what they have matches the drawings.
Okay, because the pictures don't indicate. Okay, thank you, Chairman.
So this is Jackie from the board. Let's say that we uphold the code enforcement officer's occupancy load, but we consider granting a variance from the sprinkler system because there's just never going to be water out there. How do you feel that you're protecting the occupants in this building?
Well, so you're saying we would have under 100 or less?
No, I'm saying if we determine that the sprinkler system is necessary, but we're considering giving you relief from the sprinkler system requirement.
Right.
How are you protecting the occupants without said sprinkler system?
I think we're protecting the occupants through one fully monitored fire system, sirens, strobes, pole stations, and the amount of doors that we have. I mean, I know that for code purposes, the garage doors do not count as exit doors, but the fact is that most of I am assuming that most of the more events will happen during seasonal weather. And the advantage of having those doors, the purpose of those doors are to have them be open. So while that is not, I understand and see that that's not strictly under the code count as an exit, but you are going to have a large portion of that wall space open most of the time. Now in the winter, you still have your 5 doors. Which we will certainly, and if the board directs or it makes it a condition, it's an easy ask for us to make sure the emergency lighting is on the exterior.
And adding crash bars if needed.
And the crash bars.
Yeah, if you were going to add the emergency lighting on the exterior, do you think you would do that with by making the building on a generator, the entire building on generator? Would you find a way to just generate power to that external lighting? Like, do you have any thoughts on how you would accomplish that?
What I would probably do is I'd probably do some sort of lighting that basically had a battery backup. So if we lost power, it would illuminate the walkways, or see if it might make more sense to do a battery backup on the whole low voltage lighting around that. May be useful as well. But we could, either way, we could provide adequate
with safety lighting outside in the event of a power loss.
What do you anticipate the average event occupancy load to be? Like, obviously you're asking for a maximum, but
Right.
most often, is this like a 50 to 100? Is this 150? Like,
I wouldn't say most often 50 to 100. I would say quite a bit of that. I would say, and my hedging on that is only because I imagine moving more of our smaller events into that space. So for instance, when we have a rafting event, glass blowing or whatever, paint and sip, that's well under 50 people. That's, you know, if that's a 30-person event, that's quite a bit. And the advantage of that, then, if we move that into that space, is that we can have the original space open to the public still.
and given the fact that it's not fixed seating, who will be responsible for the arrangement of the setup for each of these events so that it's not blocking the egress to the 5 doors?
I would be responsible along with our staff.
And you would be on site during the event, or you have representatives that would be on site during the event?
I
Monitoring
would, 99% of the time, I would be there, and then we certainly, nothing happens without employee management representative on that side.
I think too, having like the larger space to do like the smaller events makes sense too, because they can kind of orientate that wherever we need to in the building where we're not going to block any of the egress. Whereas if you're in a smaller space, it would be a little bit harder, but having a little bit more room, you could orientate everything as to not block any emergency egress.
Right, and it also tends to be with unsupervised events that happens more often, whereas when there's staff on site to ensure that means of egress are maintained clear, that people are conducting the event in accordance with the fire code is related to open flame devices and whatnot. Like, I mean, by eliminating the sprinkler system, now there's more of a concern for ambient table lighting and are you having caterers allowed to come in with, set up with sterno in a buffet style? And how is that all being managed to make sure it's being done in compliance with the fire code?
Correct. Understood the concern. That site does not, will not operate without an owner or a fund manager present during the related streams.
So the monitored system, so like the pull station, I pull a pull station that puts out third-party monitor, so that notifies.
Fire department.
Yeah. And is that tied into the other buildings?
Yeah, all our buildings are, everything, every single building on that property is a fully monitored system. Okay. Pepper Security does all of our install, so they also have heats too, so I know we said strobe symbols, but there's also heat detectors as well.
I know that there are volunteer-based fire departments in that township. Have they been in communication with the building department during this process? Because some towns, as a courtesy to the fire departments, will extend information along with plans. It sounds like this has become a little complicated with all of the changes. How much is the local fire department aware of, or are you not sure?
Representatives of the fire department have been to our site several times. I'm not sure if officially what they've communicated between the town and fire department.
This is Andy from the board. So if you were to have this outside venue that you talk about and there's more people that are anticipated, you're outside or the event that's in the parking lot or on the grounds.
Right.
And I can see where this is weather comes in and now all of a sudden you have this open space. And now you have an event that has more than 100 people. If we were to decrease the number of, how would that even be regulated when you have an event that was over attended?
Right.
And now you see an opportunity to bring this inside to protect, people from the weather. Has that ever been considered? Because, I mean, you have this giant open space now that can have 180 people. So, I can see the appeal from an owner business point of view. And I can also see the concern from building code official that lowering that to 80.
Right.
Doesn't necessarily, there's no monitoring of that, because there's potentially, if that was all empty, there's a lot of people that could be inside that building.
Correct. But it, one, usually during it like that, you have firm tables set up, so you would have some space taken away. But number two, I would say, that is the same case as I am in for this property now or any other property. If I have space and I decide, if my existing space is 97 people and I decide to cram in 200, that's a very bad decision on my part and my liability. There's no one on site ever to monitor, right? So, I mean, that is what the state of affairs is. I mean, that is, that just goes to being a responsible owner and responsible manager, that anytime, the town should say I can have 2 people in there, and if I have 4, that's on me. I don't know how otherwise you would monitor that, other than, and I think that, in my experience, and certainly anecdotally, I don't think that, yes, there is a big space, but I don't know that at any times when that has happened, and bad things have happened, people have thought, oh, I have a big space, I'm gonna cram them in. Other, I think they would have done that if they had a small space, and they would cram.
I'm not saying it would be intentional. I'm saying
Oh, how
it's
would
an
you prevent
opportunity.
it?
Yeah.
Well, that's just established, right? That I could, that I can, as long as you're not saying, obviously intentional.
No.
You can't monitor.
No, I'm not saying.
But that is, that's, again, that goes to liability. I'm an attorney, I'm generally on site all the time. I certainly have trained my staff on SLA liability, on general safety liability. That's, something that would be built in the management program. I'm not in the business to
Yep. Well, just as a consumer, it's not something that I normally do when I walk in a building, to look at the occupancy.
Right.
What is the rating, and
Right.
is there really that many people in there? And that was my point. And it might be just the people that are trying to move in there.
Yes.
And, that was the concern that I'm looking
And we
at.
will have, we have now, and would have, whoever with this space, staff that's well-trained, well-versed, monitoring those.
You also share the load between the other buildings, your staff to direct people to.
Yep.
The other building, just those soft.
But just as they do now, we've had events that, luckily, we have not turned anyone away, but we've certainly been conscious of where our, as far as occupancy.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
This is Jackie again. Back to the exits, and do you have that high occupancy low and maintaining clear paths to the exits? Looking at the semi-current status of the building, it's got a concrete floor. I expect you're going to put some kind of finish over that concrete floor.
Still determined, but yeah.
Would you be opposed to maybe some type of two-tone differentiation around the perimeter of the space to indicate a clear access to those exits, so that people have a visual cue of where not to set up tables and chairs, similar to they do in stock rooms where it says keep this area clear? Obviously, it's too nice of a function where we would want to have yellow lines hashed out, but maybe just, at least for your staff, as a visual cue to not stack chairs, to not put a gift table, to not just put everyday things in the area where you and your managers are very much aware that they should not be going.
I think it kind of similar, like, end goal with our floor covering is right now, it's just concrete, which it may just stay concrete. But I mean, I don't, I think Tony could comment on that too. I mean, it kind of,
I would.
yeah, I don't think we'd be opposed if we had to do something.
Okay, I mean, obviously something visually appealing because
Right.
you're trying to create a nice space,
Right.
but even just a slight differentiation in hue could at least give you a good visual, looking down like, hey, is that table too close to that exterior wall? Maybe we need to move it in a little bit.
No, my perspective, that's pretty useful.
Okay.
Sure. Jeff, are you good with your questions?
I think I'm all set.
I'd like to go into deliberation. I'd like to brought the record.
Trying to stop it. Sorry. There's no time. I actually brought a bar. Second Street.
Did they, like, town did any type of environmental, assessment for your project?
Oh, it's on the record.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I can ask a copy of that.
Yeah.
We're back on the record for petition number 2025-0447. Applicant Outlaws Hill Holdings LLC, nature of the grievance and relief sought. The petition pertains to the construction of a 2,400 square foot addition to an existing distillery building. The proposed building is 1 story in height, occupancy group A2, type 4, heavy timber construction, and is located at 7152 Amsterdam Road, Glenville, New York, 12302, Town of Glenville, County of Schenectady, State of New York. The petitioner is appealing the determination of the occupancy load and requirement of an automatic sprinkler system by the code enforcement official from the Town of Glenville. Applicable code section is 19 NY CRR Part 1221, 2020 Building Code of New York State, Section 1004.5, areas without fixed seating. States that the number of occupants shall be computed at the rate of 1 occupant per unit of area as prescribed in table 1004.5. The areas without fixed seating, the occupant load shall be not less than the number determined by dividing the floor area under consideration by the occupant load factor assigned to the function of the space as set forth in table 1004.5. Where an intended function is not listed in the table 1004.5, the building official shall establish a function based on a listed function that most nearly resembled the intended function. Exception where approved by the building official, the actual number of occupants for whom each occupied space, floor, or building is designed, although less than those determined by calculation, shall be permitted to be used in the determination of the design occupant load. And we have 19 NY CRR Part 1221, 2020 Building Code of New York State, Section F, 903.2.1.2, Group A2 states that F 903.2.1.2, Group A2, an automatic sprinkler system shall be provided throughout stories containing Group A2 occupancy and throughout all stories from the group A to occupancy to and include the levels of existing discharge serving that occupancy where one of the following conditions exist. Number one, the fire area exceeds 5,000 square feet. Number two, the fire area has an occupant load of 100 or more. Number three, the fire area is located on a floor other than the level of exit discharge serving such occupancy. Upon the application of Outlaws Kill Holding LLC and upon taking testimony and hearing an argument thereon at a duly noted hearing before the Capital Region Albany Board of Review, this hearing was held via video conference WebEx at the following location: 1 Commerce Plaza, 99 Washington Avenue, conference room 505, Albany, New York, on July 16, 2025. And upon all other papers in this matter, the board makes the following determination. In view of the conclusion of law, in view of above findings, the board denies the appeal of the petitioner and therefore sustains the determination of the code official. Sufficient evidence has not been provided by the petitioner that revising the determination of the code official substantially adversely won't affect the law's provision for health, safety, and security. The determination, wherefore, it is determined that the application appealing the determination of the code enforcement official is denied. I have a motion by a board member.
Laura will make a motion.
I have a second.
I'll second.
I'll poll our board members. Jackie Coons.
Aye.
Laura Ryder.
Aye.
Jared Berenger. Aye. Jeffrey Hindelater.
Aye.
And Chairman Andy Ellis, aye. For the record, the votes show 5 ayes, 0 nays. Now I'll read in the motion or negative declaration for short EAF for the Board of Review. Number one, that the Board of Review find and determine that the issuance of a variance in petition 2025-0447 will not have a significant environmental impact and will not have a significant adverse effect on any significant fish or wildlife habitat, scenic resource of statewide significant, important agricultural land or area included in an approved local waterfront revitalization program. And number two, that the Department of State be authorized to sign and deliver on behalf of the Board of Review and the Department of State, A, the State Environmental Quality Review Act short environmental assessment form indicating that no or small impact may occur in response to each question in part 2 of the form, determining in part 3 of the form that the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impact. I have a motion. Motion. Jared. May I have a second?
I'll second it.
Laura. I'll poll the board members. Jackie Coons.
Aye.
Laura Ryder.
Aye.
Jared Berenger. Aye. Jeffrey Hindelater.
Aye.
Chairman Andy Ellis, aye. Let the record show the votes 5 ayes, 0 nays. So now we'll get into the variance. The petitioner seeking relief from 19 NY CRR Part 1220, 1221, 2020 Building Codes of New York State, Section 1004.5. Areas without fixed seating states that the number of occupants shall be computed at the rate of 1 occupant per unit of area as prescribed in table 1005.4, 1004.5. For areas without fixed seating, and occupant load shall be not less than the number of determined by dividing the floor area under consideration by the occupant load factor assigned to the function of the space as set forth in table 1004.5. Whereas intended function is not listed in table 1004.5, the building official shall establish a function based on a listed function that most nearly resembles the intended function. Exception, where approved by the building official and actual number of occupants for whom each occupied space, floor, or building is designed, although less than those determined by calculation, shall be permitted to be used in the determination of the design occupant load. The petitioner requests relief from table 1004.5 of the 2020 Building Code for New York State and requests that is not correct, is it? sorry. We need to eliminate that. That is not correct. Am I right?
Where are you?
I am. They are not looking for. That was part of the appeal.
We upheld it, so now they're looking for a variance from that.
Okay,
So,
so,
yeah.
yeah, okay.
So
I
we're-
just want to make sure that they're
We
still
said-
part of the.
Yeah, I mean, there's the exception in there, but we
Yeah.
upheld the code enforcement
Yeah.
officer, so we're
So-
giving them presumably relief from this section.
Okay, so the petitioner requests relief from table 1004.5 of the 2020 building codes of New York State and requests to increase the allocated square feet net occupancy from 15 feet to 30 square feet.
That was the request.
Okay. 19 NYCRR Part 1221, 2020 Building Code of New York State, Section F, 903.2.1.2, Group A2 states F, 903.2.1.2, Group A2, an automatic sprinkler system shall be provided throughout stories containing Group A2 occupancy and throughout all stories from the Group A2 occupancy to and include the levels of exit discharge serving the occupancy load where one of the following conditions exist. Number one, the fire area exceeds 5,000 square feet. Number two, the fire area has occupant load of 100 or more. Number three, the fire area is located on a floor other than level exit discharge serving such occupancy. Petitioner requests relief from an automatic fire extinguisher. Upon the application of Outlaw Skill Holdings LLC and upon taking testimony, hearing argument thereon at a duly noted hearing before the Capital Region Albany Board of Review, this hearing was held via video conference WebEx at the following location: 1 Commerce Plaza, 99 Washington Avenue, conference room 505, Albany, New York, on July 16, 2025. And upon all other papers in this matter, the board makes the following determination. A finding of facts that, number one, that the subject petition pertains to construction of 2,400 square foot building, 1 story in height, occupancy Group A2 construction, 4B heavy timber, and is located at 7152 Amsterdam Road, Glenville, New York, 12302, Town of Glenville, City of Schenectady, State of New York. Number two, the Town of Glenville issued a building permit on October 10th, 2024 to construct this building. Number three, for tables 1004.5 of the 2020 Building Code of New York State, 15 square feet net occupant for assembly space without fixed seats, unconcentrated table and chairs. Total occupant load of this building is 160 people. Number four, the building has 8 overhead doors, 2 man doors, 3 French doors with a full monitored fire alarm system with strobe, sirens, and pull stations. Number 5, the property is not served by municipal water, but rather limited well system. Number 6, the petitioner states that the original plans for the 2,400 square feet for storage have been modified to accommodate a Group A2, which will require the building to be sprinklered. Number 7, petitioner refers that the installation of an automatic fire sprinkler system would require 1 or more standpipes, resulting in an astronomical increase in project cost. Number 8, the petitioner states that the walls between the existing building and the expanded space is a 2-hour fire-rated wall assembly. Number 9, that the petitioner states there are 2 solid 20-minute fire doors between the existing building and the new expanded space. Number 10, the local code enforcement official has been consulted in this matter and does not object to the granting of variance under provisions 19 NYCRR 1205. Conclusion of law: in view of the above findings and upon taking testimony and hearing argument thereon at a duly noted hearing before the Capital Region Albany Board of Review, the board found that proposed variance will not substantially adversely affect the law's provision for health, safety, and security. Strict compliance with the code will be unnecessary in light of alternatives which, achieve the intended objective of code. Determination, wherefore it is determined that the applicant for the variance from 19 NYCRR Part 1221, Section 903.2.1.2, 1004.5, and 903.2.1.2, and 1004.5 be granted with the following conditions. Number one, that the 2-hour fire rated wall.
Are we granting variance for chapter 10 also, or just chapter 9?
Just
Chapter 10 is.
Chapter
the table.
9.
Chapter 9,
You can strike the language.
yeah,
There's no variance to that.
yeah. We are not
We're
accepting any
approving
variance
15
for.
square feet, so. So it's really just the 903.2.
Okay.
They requested
So-
it.
Okay.
I understand.
Oh, yeah, it didn't, right. So wherefore it is determined that the application for a variance from 19 NYCRR Part 1221, Section 903.2.1.2.
Yeah. 9, okay.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Be granted with the following conditions. Number one, that the 2-hour fire rated wall conforms to Section 706 firewall of the building codes of New York State. Number two, that the doors between the existing building and the expanded space within the 2-hour fire rated firewall comply with Section 706 firewall. Number three, due to the limit of 2 water closets, 1 men's and 1 women's restroom, the occupancy load is limited to 150 based on plumbing and building codes. Number five, that the door of the expanded space have a 2-tone color or border to represent egress pathway. Number six, that the applicant will install exterior emergency lighting approved by the building code official. Number seven, that the applicant agrees to have an owner or a trained staff member on site at all events. I have a motion from the board. Jared, may I have a second?
I'll second.
Laura, poll the board members for the record. Jackie Coons.
Aye.
Laura Ryder.
Aye.
Jared Berenger.
Aye.
Jeffrey Hindeleiter.
Aye.
Chairman Andy Ellis, aye. Let the vote show 5 ayes, 0 nays. This decision is limited to specific building and application before it as it contained within the petition and should not be interpreted to give implied approval for any general plans or specifications presented in support of this application. Chairman Andy Ellis and members Laura Ryder, Jackie Coons, Jeffrey Hindeleiter, and Jared Berenger all concur. So ordered. You're welcome. So you guys got the
Yep.
the list?
Got the list.
So we are going off the record.
We go off the record.
2-hour rate, just confirm like the doors. Okay, so he has listed